Hey everyone, Matt here, and welcome back to the channel. And so today I'm going to provide you with 5 likes and 5 dislikes about my Tesla Model 3. I've owned the car for a little over 2 years now, and I put almost 40,000 miles. As of right now, I have 39,298 miles, so pretty close. And I'll just kind of share with you some of my things that I like and don't like about it. So starting with likes, so definitely number 5 has to be the seats. Out of every vehicle I've owned in my adult life, these are probably the most comfortable that I've ever sat in. Going on long road trips, I can sit in these for a long time and no back pain, no nothing. So if you're one of those, if you suffer from some like chronic back pain, anything like that, this will definitely help you out. The seats in Teslas. They're also extremely durable. I've seen cars before after maybe like even after like 10-12,000 miles, you'll see like the sides of the seat start to crack and just show signs of wear and tear. And even after 40,000 miles, like these seats look fantastic. Very minimal maintenance for them. I have the black leather versus the white, so you don't have to wipe them down as much, and they still look absolutely brand new as if the day that I purchased the car. And also for when it gets really cold, these seats, the heated seats, heat up extremely fast. I'll turn them on in my garage as I'm pulling out of the garage, and by the end of the driveway, it's going down to the end of the road, they're pretty warm. So good on Tesla for making probably the most comfortable seat in the car industry at the moment. All right, number 4, the heating and cooling of the car. This is one feature that nobody really talks about, which is kind of a surprise after all the YouTube videos I've watched on Teslas, but their like heating and cooling system is one of the quickest I've ever seen. I'm used to internal combustion engines, like, you know, you turn on the car, you have to wait for the compressor to turn on and like heat up for a bit just to get heating or cooling. But I'll turn on my AC from my phone, and within minutes my car is cooled to a nice like 70-69 degrees or whatever you set it to. It's overall it's nice. Number 3, the Autopilot. You know, yep, everyone praises the Autopilot. That's everyone's favorite feature, which it's definitely one of mine too. For me, I drive about 60 miles round trip per day back and forth to base. So just being able to go out onto the freeway, turn on the Autopilot, and just kind of sit there and kind of let the car do the driving, it's amazing. I have enhanced Autopilot with my car, so my car is able to switch lanes just by switching the gear stock, or the turn stock, I'm sorry, and I'll just switch in the next lane. I really wish that this was a standard feature though, but I could see though that if they made auto lane change standard, nobody would buy full self-driving, especially since some of the rest of the features aren't quite as reliable. But well, we'll get into that though. But as for the Autopilot itself, it's very reliable. I've had very few incidents. Of course, it's one of those, like, people think that, oh, I have full self-driving, I have Autopilot, I don't have to pay attention to the road. That's not true. Always be attentive to the road. I always keep a hand or two on the wheel, and I'm still looking around, watching for other cars, because some people, they drive pretty crazy over here. Number 2 has to be the low maintenance cost for this vehicle. No oil changes are required, nothing like that. There's, other than like battery coolant, there's no fluid in this car. And I'm not sure exactly when the battery coolant has to be checked, but it's, I'm thinking like 3 or 5 years, but I'll have to look into that a little bit more. But other than I've rotated the tires every like 7,000 miles or so, and sometimes I've been a little lazier than, maybe it's gone up to 10, but the very little maintenance. I changed the cabin air filters myself. I know Tesla recommends every roughly 2 years, but around the 1.5-year mark, I noticed that the quality of the air in the cabin was just starting to smell. Like it smelled really dusty. So I decided to just go and purchase them myself off Tesla's website. You get they're 17 bucks a pop, so I got it requires 2 of them. Changing them was kind of a pain in the ass, but once I got them in there and flush a little air through the cabin, you could instantly tell that the air itself just started to smell a lot better. That odor kind of went away. So if you drive your car, if you put a little bit more miles on your car than average, like for me, for 40,000 miles for a little over 2 years, so like I'm a little bit above the national average for how much someone drives per year. But if you're one of those, you only put like 10,000 miles a year on your car, then you probably won't have to worry about changing them as often. You can probably do it at the 2-year mark or even beyond if you want. And then number one for me is ride comfort. This car doesn't have air suspension like the Model S or the Model X, but really it's still fantastic. The ride is super smooth all the way to work. Like hitting speed bumps, potholes, anything like that, it's not that big of a deal. But really, I do enjoy the vehicle in the time I've had it. But when there's ups, there's also downs. Next will be my 5 dislikes of the Model 3 and just the overall Tesla experience. So number 5 is the buying and delivery experience. Ooh, boy. So originally when I purchased this car, I reserved it online. I paid my, I think it was $1,000. And originally, I was in New Mexico at the time for training, and I was expected to get the car when I got to South Carolina around the November timeframe, because that's how long it would take to be built. I get a call the next day saying, "Oh, hey, we found a car that's exactly like the one you wanted, and it's here. You can pick it up in South Carolina tomorrow, or excuse me, North Carolina." I'm like, "Well, I'm in New Mexico. I can't get it." And they told me, "Oh, no big deal. We'll just we'll build you another one, and it'll be out there by the end of November." And this was of 2018. So I'm like, sweet. So fast forward a few months, I get to South Carolina around the end of November, just as expected. And I call Tesla. I'm like, "Hey, is my car here yet?" And I'm looking on the website on my account, no VIN, no nothing assigned yet. Like, and they do some digging, and and all of a sudden, miraculously, I think within an hour, a VIN number appears for my car. And the Tesla people tell me like, "Oh, it's in, it just left Fremont. It's on its way. It should be here maybe a week." Perfect. A week goes by, and I call them back. I'm like, "Hey, is the car nearby yet?" "Well, yeah, it'll be here on December, I think it's December 10th. It'll be here on the 10th, and you can pick it up on the 11th. I'm super excited. Can't wait to pick up my car. I called the night before just to assure that the car's arrived, and what do you know? Hasn't arrived. I look on my account, and there's nothing. The VIN's disappeared. Everything's gone. So Tesla Charlotte, they're up in Charlotte, up in Matthews, North Carolina. They're looking at the like where the car is at, and they can't find it. It is gone. Like basically, I think the last time they tracked it, it was somewhere still in California, and they haven't heard from it since. So I don't know if they delivered it to the wrong delivery center in California, and I haven't heard from it again. But it all worked out. They had a pretty similar model to the one that I wanted. I originally wanted blue, but they had a red one. And normally I'm not a fan of red cars, but when it comes to Tesla red, I gotta give it to them. The red is gorgeous. So even though it was kind of a weird hiccup, I'm still happy with the decision. I was kind of on a time crunch just because the tax credit, the $7,500 tax credit, excuse me, got cut in half starting in 2019. So I wanted to get that car pretty quick so I could qualify for the full tax credit. But yep, 2 years later down the road, still happy with the car. But yeah, but this also goes into the delivery experience as well. I've seen a bunch of delivery videos on YouTube where people are like, the car's in the bay and the delivery specialist is going over with them with the vehicle. It's like a super happy moment. But for me, like up in Charlotte, like the car was still out in the parking lot, and it's pouring rain. And I felt bad for the lady who's she's trying to go over the features with me with the car. Like she's standing like outside the vehicle, and just drenched, it's just pouring rain in North Carolina. And I've seen plenty of videos. I know how these cars work. So I'm like, "Hey, it's okay. I got this. I can go." She's like, "Oh, thank you. Thank you so much." So I was kind of hoping for a bit of a better delivery experience, especially too, because I was one of only like 3 people there. There were no cars in the bay. So just pull my car in the bay. Like, don't let it pour rain on me and on the car and on the employee more than anyone. So ideally, I would hope that hopefully that's better in the future. It's 2 years ago, so hopefully it's improved. Number 4, something I absolutely hate is phantom braking on the highway. If you own a Tesla, I know you've experienced this too. So the autopilot will be on. I'm driving just as normal, monitoring what's going on. All of a sudden, the car just slams on the brakes. There's nothing in the road. There's nothing nearby. It's just some weird feature that, or I wouldn't say a feature, it's just some weird thing that goes on with Teslas where they just decide to slam on the brakes in the middle of the road. if you're on the freeway and if someone's not paying attention behind you, it could definitely pose a threat. Like they could definitely rear end you. So I'm hoping that, like, even 2 years down the road, I still get phantom braking on the highway. I get phantom braking as well when I'm going up over a hill, and when I'm on the other side of the hill, that's when it starts to brake again. Don't know why it does it, but Tesla, fix it, please. Number 3 is battery loss while parked. So story with this is I went to Wisconsin for a wedding about 1.5 years ago, and I parked my car at the airport in the parking garage, and I didn't disable the cabin heat overprotection or Sentry mode, so that was running the entire time. I didn't realize exactly how much battery I would lose, but I was losing roughly 25 to 30 miles a day. So I'm up there in Wisconsin, like checking my Tesla app, and I'm just watching the miles just drain every day. So I think by the time I got back home, I had about 40 miles left, and it was fully charged when I left. So I was kind of scared. Like, for another day, my car would have been dead. Which, even though it would have got to 20%, probably disabled all that, so it would have been still pretty close. But still, it's one advantage of a gas car. You don't have to worry about stuff like that. So, oh well. Ooh. Number 2, advanced summon. It's a cool feature. I know it's kind of a party trick. I don't really use it. I only use it maybe in really empty parking lots. I don't use it in very crowded parking lots just because it's not reliable and it's super wonky. I've seen stories recently of horror stories with advanced summon where they'll use it and it's actually like hit somebody's car, or someone even had it in their garage and the car just decided to run itself into their garage wall. So that's a feature that you get either with enhanced autopilot or full self-driving. And even 2 years later, it's like once I got version 10, so it's been about maybe 1.5 years since I've had that feature, but I haven't seen really too many improvements with the advanced summon so far. Oh, there's kids in my neighborhood. Every time someone sees a Tesla, they absolutely love the car. You get looks when you drive one of these, especially the red. Back to advanced summon. I wouldn't trust it just yet. Test it if you have it. Test it safely. Always have eyes on the car and just make sure nobody's around. And maybe once they make some improvements, hopefully they'll start pushing those updates out. But all right, so on to number 1. One of my big dislikes is limited superchargers. I'd say more particularly on the East Coast is where we have limited supercharger availability. So and that falls into the range anxiety as well that a lot of people get. I know on the West Coast, like in California and all that, like you could throw a rock and you can almost hit a Tesla supercharger, but here on the East Coast, not so much. They just finally put one in Charleston, South Carolina. They have one here in Columbia, but it's like 20 miles away and it's not really worth it to go there. But if you have anything less than a long range Tesla, so if you have one of those, like maybe like those 75Ds, the 100D, or 100D could probably do it, but if you don't have a car that gets at least 100 miles, especially here in South Carolina, like I wouldn't be able to make it to really Charleston and back on one charge. I barely made it here in this car. I think I got back with around 8%. At least there's a supercharger on the way in Santee, South Carolina, but it's kind of off the beaten path. But because I tried to, when I stay in the hotel down there, I tried to use the chargers that they had down there. Like just the simple standard Tesla wall chargers, but they were all broke. Every single one of them was broken. Or you had to be like a paying customer at the hotel to use it, which some of those hotels down there are, they run like maybe like $500 a night. So I was kind of SOL there, but that's where the range anxiety comes in, just because it's not as simple as the gas stations where they're everywhere and you can just pull in and fill up your car in a couple of minutes and go. But I've seen Tesla recently, they have been putting out more superchargers. I know they've made improvements on how quickly they can incorporate a supercharger into a city or in a certain place. So good on them. I know the competition's heating up a bit, like especially with Porsche announcing that they want to do their own supercharging network. I think Jeep just announced one as well. I think can't remember who else, maybe Volvo and like Volkswagen, all of them. So there's gonna be a lot of different supercharging networks on the rise here. So well anyway, that's all I got. That's my 5 likes and my 5 dislikes for my Tesla Model 3. If you like the video, please just give it a little thumbs up. Any comments you have for me, just leave them down below, or any questions, and I'll answer them as quick as I can. And also, this is only like I think my 4th or 5th video, but if you enjoyed the video, please subscribe for more content. There's plenty more on the way. I have a Cybertruck tri-motor on order, so Elon Musk, I'm waiting. It's Q2. I want that Cybertruck news. So hopefully if I can get that, maybe by the end of the year, we'll see. I reserved it literally the day of, like the second Elon Musk said, go on tesla.com/Cybertruck to reserve. I was on there doing it. And I think I think according to some random Excel tracker that's run around on the internet, I should be maybe number 500 in line for the tri-motor. So once I get that, I'll post some more content in regards to the Cybertruck for anyone that's curious about it, because I know it's interesting. We'll see how it is. All right, have a good one. See ya.